Hi, my name is Dr. Supratim Sen. I'm a senior consultant pediatric cardiologist at SRCC Children's Hospital in Mumbai, India. And today I'm going to speak on arrhythmias in children, and I'm basically just going to talk about the common questions which parents have when we diagnose their children with arrhythmias. So the normal heart will beat in a synchronized fashion, and first the atria or the receiving chambers will fill passively with blood, and then these will pump the blood into the ventricles, and then the ventricles or the pumping chambers will pump this blood back into the body and the lungs. And this rhythmic synchronized beating is based on the electrical activity of the heart, and this is detected on an electrocardiogram, which is also known as an ECG or an EKG. So if you see this schematic diagram, this is a diagram of the heart, and the rhythm or the electrical system pathway starts in the right receiving chamber known as the right atrium, and this is known as the sinus node or the SA node. And from here the electrical impulse will pass into the AV node, and then through the ventricles the electrical impulse goes to the rest of the pumping chambers. When we detect this on an ECG, this is shown as a normal sinus rhythm, and if you look carefully at this ECG, there are 5 points or waves. The first one is the P wave, the second is a complex of 3 waves known as the QRS complex, and the last one is the T wave. So whenever we diagnose an arrhythmia in a child, we are looking at an ECG, which shows us the electrical conduction of the heart, and a longer form of ECG, which goes over 24, 48 or 72 hours, is known as a Holter. So what is the normal heart rate? Generally speaking, younger children will have faster heart rates than adults, and our heart rate does increase with exercise and exertion. An infant or a child will have a resting heart rate of between 110 to 120 beats per minute, and by the time the child grows into an adolescent or an adult, the resting heart rate comes down to 60 to 80 per minute. However, even with exercise or exertion, there is an upper limit of normal heart rate, and any heart rate which is above 200 to 220 per minute is generally abnormal, even in a small child. So what is an arrhythmia? An arrhythmia is any change in this regular synchronized rhythm of the heartbeat, and usually an arrhythmia is caused by an electrical short circuit in the heart. There are broadly 2 types of arrhythmias. If the child has a fast heart rate, it's known as a tachyarrhythmia, and if the child has a slow heart rate, it's known as a bradyarrhythmia. You can see here that I have compared tachyarrhythmia with tachycardia, and a tachycardia can be normal or abnormal, it's just fast, while a tachyarrhythmia is always abnormal. And the same thing holds true for the bradyarrhythmia versus the bradycardia. Now coming to the tachyarrhythmias, there are 2 types. If the abnormal rhythm starts in the upper chambers, the atria, then we have the supraventricular tachycardia or atrial flutter or fibrillation. And if the abnormal rhythm starts in the bottom chamber, the ventricles, then these patients have ventricular tachycardias or ventricular fibrillation. There is a group of disorders known as channelopathies, and the commonest one is the long QT syndrome. And these patients can present with a life-threatening ventricular tachycardia. So this is an abnormal ECG. You can see that these lines are closer together, and this actually shows a heart rate of 300 per minute. Compared to that, this is another abnormal ECG, but this is a ECG where the rhythm is known as a ventricular tachycardia, whereas this is showing a supraventricular tachycardia. So generally speaking, from the ECG itself, we can diagnose what the rhythm problem is. The symptoms in these patients can be variable. Some children might present with palpitations, which means that they can feel their own heart beating abnormally. These children can have dizziness, loss of consciousness, or breathing difficulty and fast breathing. Are any tachycardias normal? As I mentioned, if we exercise or if we have fever, anxiety, we can have normally fast heart rates, and these are known as sinus tachycardias. So these are not tachyarrhythmias, it is just a sinus tachycardia. How do we treat tachyarrhythmias? The first treatment is medications, which can be either injections or oral medications. And if the patient presents to us in a very sick or a critical state, and where we need the arrhythmia to be reverted to normal rhythm immediately, then we can also do what is known as a cardioversion or a DC shock. And this is a machine which we use with the paddles to do the shock. And this is something which you might have commonly seen in the movies. Now coming to the bradyarrhythmias, where the heart rate is slow, these patients will usually have what is known as a complete heart block. And in a complete heart block, the child has an abnormally slow heart rate, which is not enough to sustain the blood supply to the whole body when the child exerts himself. You can also have rarer forms of bradyarrhythmia, such as a sinus node dysfunction. Children with bradycardia or bradyarrhythmias will also have dizziness, they can have loss of consciousness, they can have fatigue, and a small baby with a bradyarrhythmia might just present with poor growth and fast breathing. So how do we treat bradyarrhythmias? If these patients are symptomatic and there is an indication, then we would need to put in a pacemaker. Can arrhythmias be life-threatening? Generally speaking, the ventricular arrhythmias, the ventricular tachycardia or the fibrillation can be life-threatening, and this is especially so if the patient has a channelopathy such as a long QT syndrome. The supraventricular tachycardias or SVT are generally transient and they are well tolerated, especially if they are self-resolving. However, if a child has an SVT which is going on for quite a few hours, then there can be some weakness in the pumping function of the heart. Luckily for us, once this abnormal SVT is corrected, the weakness in the pumping function also recovers. Now, a lot of parents might ask me, can an arrhythmia medication be given in a small baby? And the answer to that is yes, arrhythmia medications are safe and we can give them even in a newborn baby, but we of course have to give the correct dose according to the baby's weight, and we should only give these medicines if they are required. Lastly, I'm going to talk about a pacemaker. A pacemaker, you can see here, is a machine which acts as an artificial pacer for the heart when the normal rhythm of the heart is not working. And this consists of a battery, and then there is a long lead which goes into the heart. If required, even a newborn baby can have a pacemaker implantation. In a small child, the pacemaker is put as an epicardial pacemaker, and in this form, the surgeons will do a surgical placement of the lead on top of the heart muscle. In an older child or an adult, the pacing lead can be put as an endocardial pacemaker, where this pacing lead actually goes within the heart. But this is a good device and it lets the child lead a normal life. So I would like to end by stressing some salient points. Arrhythmias in children can present with a variety of symptoms, and some of them can be potentially life-threatening. Arrhythmias are easily treatable either with medications or with pacemakers depending on the type of arrhythmia, and they are well treated if they are diagnosed correctly. And even small children can safely be treated with medications and pacemakers if required. Thank you for your patient hearing. If you have any questions, please feel free to put in a comment, or you can contact us directly. Thank you.